Old School Runescape is often paired with the word nostalgia, which is understandable. It's in the name. Old School Runescape. The game currently stands in its 11th year of existence and takes place in the top 3 most played MMORPGs. And I am here to say that nostalgia has not been a driving force to get Old School to where it is right now. In fact, I would argue that nostalgia has never been a true contributor to Old School's success. It's not the reason any of us are here. See, recently I made this video talking about the state of MMORPGs and what future they may or may not have. And naturally, being my video, OSRS came up a few times. And not to pump my own tires or anything, but I think it was a pretty good video. However, you know, what I think about it doesn't matter because one of you people decided to send it over for a peer review, which first of all, you were supposed to send this one. I wanted that to be reviewed, okay? Why has he still not watched this video? What am I even paying you guys for? But it's fine because I did a peer review of the peer review. That way I get the last word in, so I win arguments by default.
Look at this graph, this is terrible.
It's just beautiful.
Look at how good the motion capture is and how photorealistic Baldur's Gate 3 facial capture is.
Doesn't matter for an MMO.
I think that plays such a massive role in why the game is popular.
WoW doesn't even, when they're giving you a quest for the Alliance, he says, as he just said a novel of things to you, and I don't even think his mouth moves when he says for the Alliance.
Anyway, during this peer review, Asmon said something I've heard a lot.
If this game came out today, it wouldn't be as popular as it is. It only exists because people have nostalgia for it for 25 or 30 years. That's the main reason.
And that must have been the tip of the iceberg for me because I opened a Word document and here we are. As someone who has 2 different Old School RuneScape series that can be linked directly to nostalgia, I'm here to set it straight. When I say this, I'm not just talking about MMORPGs. Old School RuneScape is one of the greatest video games ever made. Nostalgia has not done the legwork to get it there. But I'm not in the mood to talk about it because I'm hungry and my personal chef is gonna make me not hungry anymore. So give me a second, please. Hello, I'm not the same guy. I'm a chef. When Jimmy hired me, I didn't know how to cook anything. They told me to apply to as many jobs as possible and just lie on my resume, and I didn't think I'd actually get hired. For a while, I was just kind of opening his fridge and staring blankly. Worked for a few weeks, but I really had to figure something out, so I learned about HelloFresh. Never again did I need to think about what I was gonna cook. They told me what I was gonna cook, and they gave me everything I needed. This is what chefs dream about. They make it foolproof. And all this stuff comes in beautifully packaged from a farm. They've got about 50 different recipes. By the time I cycle through all of them, he thinks it's a brand new meal. He forgets, so he still hasn't caught on that I'm doing this. I don't know if any of you have been to a grocery store before. It's not for me. The other day he said he was in the mood for a barbecue, so I told him I've catered hundreds of barbecues. I cooked up some cheese-stuffed burgers. Totally bought it. I never even used a grill before. He took me on vacation with him. Thought my cover was blown, but I can literally send it to where I'm vacationing. He never found out. I snuck the link in the description. He's never gonna see it. Go to that, you'll get 10 free meals and free appetizers for life. People are gonna think you got Ratatouille in your hat. Use that code. Thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video and getting me this job. Nostalgia in the video game world has become very messy because nowadays it's pretty common to weaponize nostalgia into this marketing tactic. Just a little party trick they pull to make a quick buck at the expense of us remembering what it was like when our life was simple and happy. Very kind of them. Most recently, you can look at the Star Wars Battlefront collection, the classic collection. When that thing was first announced, I thought I was going insane, seeing all the positivity surround the announcement of that because everyone's just going bananas for this big release of the classic collection as if it wasn't this available thing to everybody with a semi-running computer. What was that about? $30 for a texture pack. It's that kind of thing in the entertainment industry that has put this negative connotation around the word nostalgia. Things like remastered games, their goal is for a quick cash grab, very short term. Get everyone to purchase it, never look at it again. But with a situation like Old School RuneScape, it's not really the case of releasing something once and then forgetting about it just to make money for a second. Jagex really didn't want to do this whole old school idea, coming up with basically every excuse in the book not to do it. I'm sure most of you have seen the famous clip of, you know, you think you do, but you don't, that Vanilla WoW received when asked the question. Didn't exactly age that well, but honestly, Jagex did the exact same thing. They just didn't do it during a live streamed event. Not only was there a petition that content creators rallied communities to go and sign, there was also a private server that had about 390,000 registered accounts, which Jagex shut down. And if neither of those things happened, then we wouldn't have gotten the poll from Jagex themselves, you know, just to be sure that we really wanted it. Jagex knew that nostalgia is a short-term feeling. You don't just constantly feel nostalgia, it's this thing that hits you. You know, it might stay with you for a little bit. Players wanting to feel nostalgia was not enough to justify putting a bunch of resources into. What Jagex didn't understand was that this was not an outcry or a demand to feel nostalgia. Nostalgia really wasn't what people were thinking about when all of this was going down. This was all an expression of resentment towards the decisions that Jagex was making, turning the game into something that players didn't recognize anymore. Have you ever been playing a sandbox game? You're about 20 hours into it, things started becoming more complicated, you're micromanaging things, you're kind of just really missing that early game. It's just a very congested feeling you're getting. There might be some long-term decisions that you made that you're really not enjoying anymore. Suddenly you find yourself pushing all this progress away and starting fresh with a new game. That way you can create a different path and make different decisions that you know will affect you later down the line. I think that's more of the feeling that RuneScape players were having. Jagex was screwing up our playthrough, things felt wrong, and we wanted to go to the main menu and start a new game, redo a couple thousand decisions. So Old School launched February 22nd, 2013. Players logged into a server that was a backup of the game from August 10th, 2007. It was as if players had traveled backwards in time 5.5 years. So for the first couple weeks, the average player count was about 40,000, peaking on day one with 65,000 concurrent players. But about 3 months after launch, Old School RuneScape was averaging about 17,000 concurrent players. And by August, about 12,000. The main game was consistently holding more players than Old School. And the reason that it was declining was very simple. There's no updates. I mean, there were some quality of life improvements here and there, but I mean, the first original content that Old School got was Nightmare Zone, and that's just about the most boring thing you can do. It's content built for you to look away for 10 minutes. They also got Rooftop Agility, which, I mean, it's cool, but I mean, it's still agility. Those updates we were getting were simply not enough to keep players excited. And I don't know if you could tell, but nostalgia was definitely not keeping players there. But here's the plot twist. I believe that the lack of nostalgia was exactly what the game needed. The game was just kind of sitting here with nothing happening to it. The difference between this 2007 world and the original 2007 world, players with their developing adult minds saw this whole big sandboxy world from a whole different perspective, which sparked new ideas that had never been tried before. What if you were the last person on Earth and you logged into an Old School RuneScape server? If it's just you and this video game, how hard would that be? Well, I mean, I don't know, let's try it, how about? Yeah, this is cool, this is working, but what if when we did this, we only had one life? You're not allowed to die, or it's a permadeath, you know, it's done. That's adrenaline pumping, let's do it, let's try it. But let's go a layer deeper, you know, let's hear me out, let's get a little crazy here. What if you couldn't use a bank? Limited to 28 inventory slots, could you do that? I mean, I store hundreds of things in the bank, surely that's not possible. Or is it? Let's try it. I just got a crazy idea, we've only got these 28 inventory slots, no banks, that's it. We also lock ourselves to a certain region of the game, let's try that. It's crazy, I know, but like, think of all the things we have to discover, all the methods that no one's really ever thought of or tried, because you'd have to be stupid to try them, but that's all we have. Did you know the map is made of chunks? What if we locked ourselves to chunks? We have to unlock one chunk at a time. Clue scrolls are how we progress. Chronologically time locked, cave locked, no light please, like me in real life. Tile locked, one square, the squares in the game, one at a time. Skill locked, only some skills. One inventory slot, it's all I need. No Wikipedia, no guides, don't look at me. Prop hunt, I'm an item now. One hit point permadeath, lock me out. Jagex, you in on this? Leagues, we take all those ideas, make them fast now. Go! And we're still not trading anyone. Unless it's with your friends, group of 5, self-found 5 of you. Soup, we need a game show, 4 seasons of it.
After this quest guide, 1 sec.
Great, the whole world is PvP, but if you're the last one standing after a couple weeks, you get real life money. Make a series, 86 episodes in a Rice Mountain only. Rat lock. No shoes, we're feet locked. Shirts off, no magic. Only Slayer, that's it. Where that's all are we? Where am I? What year is it? Over 10 years later, We've all collectively made one of the greatest communities in all of gaming, currently averaging 110,000 concurrent players every day. And you know what? I'm a fair guy. I'll lower our player count by 20%. That way, we've only got 70,000 more average players. The old school devs deserve credit where it's due, because after they realized that updates equals interest, original content was constantly being pitched, pulled, and then developed as the players helped shape the direction of the game. While most of the updates stay true to this nostalgic aesthetic, there is nothing nostalgic about this gameplay. And that's completely okay. Old School RuneScape is a standalone game. I promise nostalgia itself is never going to be the reason that we are seeing growth. Like I was saying, in a way, the lack of nostalgia is what got us here. New creative directions for both players and devs to take. And it's funny because 4 years ago, I could have swore we were almost out of ideas. There's no way we keep coming up with things. Fast forward to now, all I can think is, I can't wait to see 4 years from today and see what crazy shit we've done. Because with this player base and all the possibilities that we've discovered and still discover, I've got no idea. Anyway, while I have you here, click the like button. I can wait a second. What else are you doing, you know? I can wait. You can, there you go. I'm assuming you clicked it. Players still feel nostalgia, don't get me wrong. It's still a part of old school. Me, mostly the audio. When I play the Al-Kharid track, I can transform right back into being 9 years old, training on the purple guard guys. I can sense somebody stealing my rock crab every time Borderland comes on, or the body parts track just dropping me directly into the experiment cave, the sound of a whip, or a dragon longsword special attack, or a goblin taking damage. That's the shit that'll hit me with nostalgic feelings sometimes. I feel it. And it's not just those 2007 memories that trigger nostalgia in people anymore. Old School's been out for 11 years, which is more than enough time to create nostalgic feelings for people. There are players now who will get more nostalgia at Zulrah than they would at the Goblins in Lumbridge. Maybe they remember creating an Iron Man and playing in 2014, 2015, grinding it for hours, learning it, and if they went back, they would get hit with it. At the end of the day, it is not a contributing factor to our growing player base. I think as adults, a lot of us are coming to this realization that Old School RuneScape has the ability to respect your time while also having the capability of consuming all of it whenever you let it, which is really nice.
Still gonna get some XP while I can, so.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be on my phone.
Okay.
There's so many levels of attention that you can do depending on what activity is going on in the game. You could be AFK for 20 minutes doing something while still progressing your account, or you could be hands on your F keys and mouse doing some crazy ass boss mechanics, and there's so many more things that are in between those. There's so much to do in this game. I think a lot of MMO players out there are looking for that number go up feeling, and I really don't think there's many games that do it better than this one. That famous RuneScape quote, "You never quit, you only take breaks," just holds up year after year. Old School's early game and mid game is always gonna have that sense of familiarity. It truly is always waiting for you. I'm not trying to turn this into some ad for Old School RuneScape, but I just think it's important for the MMO world to understand that there's about a million things that RuneScape gets right that a lot of other games could take from. So to directly respond to Asmon saying that if this game came out today, it would not be as popular as it is, I humbly disagree. If graphics and all these Unreal Engine 5 projects have taught me anything, it's that now more than ever, graphics don't mean shit. We're getting a greater and greater appreciation for this place. This is a crazy hot take, but I will stand by it. I think Old School RuneScape will probably outlive almost every other MMORPG. And I'm gonna say it, including World of Warcraft. What, you don't believe me? I mean, just ask World of Warcraft players. They're right here. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy.